Hello, my name is Jay Erie, and I'm at the American Academy of Ophthalmology annual meeting in Orlando, Florida. And I have the distinct pleasure of speaking with the Executive Vice President and CEO of the Academy, Dr. David Parke. Good afternoon, David, and welcome.
Thanks, Jay. I'm looking forward to this.
Earlier this morning, I was at the glaucoma subspecialty meeting, and I know the care that I provide my patients in glaucoma is going to be ratcheted up a notch from the important things I've learned at that meeting. What are the 2 or 3 most important challenges for the Academy to improve the quality of eye care, both in the United States and worldwide?
You know, Jay, the Academy, of course, is first of all at its core an educational organization. And so although there are other things that we do, education is basically our primary mission. And so if you looked at what the Academy has the opportunity to do in that context, it's first of all to promulgate standards for care and setting clinical guidelines, if you will, what we in ophthalmology call the preferred practice patterns or the ophthalmic technology assessments. The meta-analyses, the evidence-based guidelines that at the end of the day we hope will be utilized within the practice to help our members provide the best care. Now, you and I both know that a physician has to have the ability to override those guidelines based on individual circumstances, comorbidities, etc. But yet, if they're derived from evidence basis, if they really are a true scientific meta-analysis, it should help the members in the vast majority of patients. Once you've got those, the next step, of course, is to use those clinical guidelines and develop tools, put out things to allow the members to learn about the newest, latest, state-of-the-art things in ophthalmology that they need to apply those guidelines. And then finally, we need to promulgate them, not only to the membership, but to payers, to healthcare systems, to healthcare policy experts, etc. Because at the end of the day, having the guidelines doesn't do anything unless they're actually being used.
So at institutions like the Mayo Clinic, where I work, what are our opportunities and responsibilities to improve ophthalmic care?
Mayo Clinic is a very, I'm sort of a blessed beast, if you will, within American healthcare, because it has not only extraordinarily fine quality physicians, facilities, but it's also a wonderful healthcare system incubator. And so when I look at Mayo, I say here's an organization that has the resources, the human resources, the capital resources, the facility resources, to be an incubator for best-in-class, not only individual patient-centered healthcare, but healthcare systems design and healthcare systems innovation.
The Academy, or as you know, Mayo Clinic, our eye department is a combination of MDs and ODs. And the Academy has a very strong advocacy arm. And recently there's been significant efforts to prevent the expansion of optometric scope of practice that have traditionally and should be ophthalmology related. What is your perspective on integrated practices such as the Mayo Clinic that have both MDs and ODs on our staff?
I think it's not only a wonderful model, it's a necessary model. Not for every practice, but for a lot of practices, because our goal is to provide accessible care to everyone, the highest quality care to everyone, and affordable care. And at the end of the day, if we have a system that is designed properly, it's not just a physician or an ophthalmologist involved system. We all use technicians, we use photographers, we use business managers, we use nurses. Optometrists are professionals who can really play a very, very valuable role in that. The question, obviously, why ophthalmology has advocacy issues here is that every individual's role, including the physician's role, has to be based on training, demonstrated capability, and experience, so that in the end of the day, it's derived not to solve a turf battle issue for individual providers, but it is patient-centered to make sure the patient gets the best quality care. And so the system you have at Mayo is actually the system that's in place for a large portion of ophthalmology. About 50% of ophthalmologists practice in practices that employ optometrists in an integrated team.
I know that the Academy emphasizes the necessity of appropriate relationships between medicine and industry. And earlier today at the glaucoma subspecialty meeting, Tom Harbin commented on this very nicely, I thought. What has the AAO done to manage potential conflicts of interest, and what challenges remain?
I think that I look at this from two different perspectives, Jay. It's what do we do as an organization? In other words, how do we handle this as an organization? How do we handle our own potential or perceived conflicts? And then what sort of guidelines or policy do we put out there for our members? First of all, for the members, the Academy has had policies in place for a long time, initially developed by the Ethics Committee, and they are centered around the ethical principle of transparency and what's in the patient's best interest. Those have been out there for a long time. What's really new is that although we have had for many years a policy regarding perceived financial conflicts of interest in education, and we followed the guidelines of the Accrediting Council for Continuing Medical Education, the ACCME. And recently pharma has had, or the pharmaceutical industry has the pharma guidelines, and now the device industry has the device guidelines through AdvaMed. Recently, all the major medical societies got together through an organization called the CMSS to develop a code of conduct for financial relationships with industry. And I was actually on the writing committee for this set of guidelines. And the Academy was one of the very first major societies in the country to sign these. And what it really did was to put in place, I'm going to say, as close to total transparency about financial relationships with industry, I think, as you can have. And where it went, where we hadn't gone before, was to prohibit, not just simply disclose, but prohibit certain financial conflicts at key governance positions for me, for the president of the Academy, the editor of the journal, the head of the guidelines process, etc. And we have put all of that out on a public-facing website. So anybody can go out onto the web to the www.aao.org website, our website, and look at the Academy policy. They can look at the Academy's organizational financial relationships with industry, and they can look at the individual relationships of every member of the board and senior member of governance.
Well, David, the Academy, the annual meeting is just wonderful. I'm just so proud of our specialty when I see a meeting like this and the quality of everything that's being offered to us, and thank you very much for speaking with us.